All right, this week we're joined by Alex from Malevolence. This is kind of weird that two Brits talking from different sides of LA, but that's where we are. How's it going? And you're in Long Beach. How's your time been out here so far?
I'm loving it, man. Loving the weather, loving the sunshine. Working on my tan lines. Great so far. Enjoying it.
What's the best thing about America?
Oh, that's a tough one. It is the land of temptation, so I'm not gonna lie. The food and stuff out here. There's a lot of things that you want to suck you in and draw you into the naughty food spots, the burgers and the hot dogs and stuff like that. So it's a real problem for me. I'm trying to lose weight at the minute, so like,
Yeah, this ain't the place to do it, man. I always
no,
say that. I always say that it is like everything is to excess. Like the good things are really great. The mental things are fucking bananas.
yeah, 100%. And like, yeah, they don't do things by halves. Even just like the car that we hired, we got an upgrade from the hire company. Like when we arrived, and the car they've given us is so much bigger than anything I've ever driven before. But it's kind of cool because the roads are absolutely massive and they're straight. It's just straight lines for miles, so you can, rag it around a little bit and have a good time. So I like that as well.
I had visions of them giving you a drop top. No, no,
Yeah.
no roof, and that's the new Malevolence.
Do you know what? I wish they had, but they gave us an X5, being a brand new X5, so I'm pretty happy with that. Like
Nice.
we've had the sunroof down, giving it the big one, blasting the music and stuff like that. So yeah, living the
What's on,
LA lifestyle.
what's on the playlist at the minute, Alex?
A lot of rap music as always. But one of my, well, I mean, it's not really new, but a band that I've been listening to a lot, hardcore band, Gridiron. They're from stateside. Really big fans of their latest record. Um, what else have I been listening to? A lot of just like R&B and like just something with a good beat. Like I like to have the bass quite loud in the car, obviously. So anything that's got a good bass line, I'm all about it.
Who are the rap and R&B artists at the minute?
Well, as soon as we're on the West Coast, I've been blasting a lot of Tupac, Nipsey, anything old school, Dr. Dre,
The
NWA.
Com the Compton whistle sounds different out here.
It hits so much harder.
It does. It does. What brings you out here, Alex?
So we're out here recording at the moment, album number 4. We're currently working in the lab with Josh Wilbur. So we're very, very excited. It's our first time traveling international to record an album or record any body of work. So it's a new experience for us. And so far, it's been amazing. Um, I can't say too much about it at the moment, but I'm very, very excited for people to hear it because we've literally just finished up a vocal session this morning, and we're four songs in at the moment,
Wicked.
and it's sounding huge, bro. Like I'm not even fucking around, bro. It's up there. It's up there. So
Is it is it a different vibe like when you're in a different country? Like it's got to be like a lighter vibe, almost feeling like you're on holiday while working.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's this time round we've kind of took a slightly different approach, and working with Josh, especially, who's our producer on this record, it's really brought the fun back into writing for me personally. Like, I always find writing can be a bit of a slog. Like you're working on these songs for sometimes 2, possibly 3 years, and it just becomes a bit of a chore. And like I find it kind of hard to almost stay motivated when we're coming to like improving and tweaking things. But this time around, it's been a lot easier, and we've really put the fun back into it again. And especially, being over here in America, it means we've got a limited time window to do it all in. However, it just feels a lot more relaxed than what we're used to. Like right now, it's only me and Josh who are out in LA. The rest of the guys come here in a couple of weeks to do their parts. And kind of coming out in stages has allowed us to be, just have a little bit more relaxed environment. There's not too many chefs trying to spoil the broth and stuff like that. We did the pre-production in the UK, spent 2 weeks before we came out doing the pre-production, got pretty much everything locked in, and now we're out here just, it's almost like data input, I guess, um, and like experimenting with things. But yeah, it's just been a lot of fun this time round, and it's been very refreshing to have that new approach to it.
Not even like bringing it to new records. One of the things I love chatting to you about, Alex, is the fact that you are like, you avoid every heavy metal cliche that has ever existed. So when it comes to lyrical narrative though, and fitting heavy music, like how much do you feel that you give, like how different is the Alex that we chat to the words that you put out into Malevolence?
I feel like on the latest, on this album especially, but it's been a kind of progressive thing over the last few albums where I've always tried to be quite honest and grounded, especially in the subjects that we talk about in the songs. And like when we put the first album out, Reign of Suffering, as much as that was like a massive album for us, I feel like I have more clever ways of saying things these days rather than the kind of cliche demons and souls and dragons and
Mm.
stuff like that. That's not necessarily what I want to be talking about. So I try to keep the lyrics quite grounded, and like even when it comes down to saying things, like singing things how I would actually say them. Say for example, there's a line in one of the new songs where I say another dickhead with a lot to say, and I say it in the song how I would say it, for me personally. So I always try and keep myself grounded and talk about things that mean a lot to me, whether they're personal things or something that I can talk, I feel like I can speak about, which will resonate and people can relate to. Um, and yeah, I'm not trying to be anything for anyone. I'll be myself to the end. So I guess what you hear in my lyrics is is us, and because it is a joint effort lyrics, it's not just me that writes the lyrics. It's a joint effort between all of us. Um, and we're very meticulous and go through everything with a fine-tooth comb when it comes to lyrics. And I feel like what you're getting is authentic with us. We're not trying to sing about stuff or represent things which aren't us. It's always been what we feel and what we want to say.
Does it speak volumes to how the confidence of the band has come on as well? That you're willing to like you say, when you've got a line as point blank as you were just saying, like I think you have to reach a certain stage of being comfortable with who you are and where you are. Like, does it speak volumes to how Malevolence have grown in confidence? Like you just spoke about Reign of Suffering. I still can't believe that record is like over a decade. Ago at this point, like I think something like that speaks to how far you've come as a band since then.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, with age, it's become obvious that, we don't need to try and appease anyone. We can just be ourselves, and that is probably the best way to do it because I feel like that's what people click with and what resonates with them. So, but yeah, there's definitely there's definitely a bit of cockiness to it. There's some about. I mean that in a good way. Like I feel like we've earned our stripes as such, and now we can. We're not like it's. I don't want to repeat myself, but it comes back to the thing of we're not trying to be anything for anyone
Yeah.
else. Um, and yeah, I feel like over the past 10 years as well, we've grown more comfortable with our art form, more comfortable with what we do, and that in turn brings, like you say, like that confidence and the I don't want to say swagger, but
Yeah.
the malevolence thing that I hope that people see, and we're just writing the music that we want to hear.
Yeah, I think it like to put you aside a lot of the other bands of your era. Like when you look at yourselves and Sleeps and Architects are headlining Bloodstock the day that you're playing it. I think it speaks a lot to really portraying to people that what you see is what you get, but also being who you are, there's no need to be anything else. There's like a generation of bands all together from our island. That it feels like that's been a kind of an MO for all of you, independent of one another as well. It's not like everyone had a meeting about it. It's just like you're just there's a crop of bands that are just happy to be who they are because that's what artistic freedom and heavy metal's about.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. And like you take a look at While She Sleeps on their latest album, they've just gone full hog and lent into the things I feel like they've been dipping their toe in for years, and they're not making no apologies to no one for doing that, and I will support that forever. Any
Yeah.
bands taking a step outside their comfort zone to be who they want to be and do what they want to do, whether I like their music or not, I will support that wholeheartedly.
Pumps and whistle on the next record, then there it is. Yeah, yeah, here first.
That's it.
So
That's it.
I think one of the ways that you can always feel a band grow over the years is at festivals. Have you felt that over the course of the 10 years? Like there's a lot of difference between being the band in the tent to prove themselves to where Malevolence are now. Does it feel like year on year your festival experience grows and gets more mental?
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like the main like tipping point for it all was coming back after COVID and playing the download pilot. Like that all of a sudden thrust us into this like onto this stage where we're playing to double, three times the amount of people that we would normally expect to play at an event like that. And then since then, we did the main stage early on in the day at Bloodstock a few years ago, and then we went back and did the headline, the Sophie Lancaster stage, and just seeing the growth in like the amount of people coming into the tent and trying like literally to squeeze themselves in, even though the tent's at a limited capacity, was just mind blowing, really. And I feel like festivals is such a good opportunity, obviously, because you're playing to so much more people, so many more people that haven't heard of you before. So that is the time you really want to put on for your band, and you really want to show what you're capable of, because you're playing to about 20 other bands' markets potentially. Every other band on that lineup, their fans might be waiting for a band after you or before you, and that is the time you want to be like grabbing their attention and be like, "Yo, come and watch our show. Look at what's
Mm.
happening." And yeah, I feel like these last few years, the festival slots have just been wild. Like I'm so excited to come back to Bloodstock and play on that main stage again. I feel like that slot is going to be an absolute madness, because that's last time we were at Bloodstock and I saw how many people were trying to get in that tent. Now there's no limits on the capacity, so we're gonna incite some chaos. Put it that way.
Love it, love it. I guess I don't want, and I don't want to overlook the vocals to the vocalist, but I feel like if there is something that unites every type of person that likes heavy music, it is riffs, and your band has them by the fucking truckload, which is why a festival always feels like it'd be a laugh, no matter what type of audience you're put in front of, like that universal primal thing that unites everyone. I always think your band has it literally by the truckload.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, Josh, our guitarist, has got riffs coming out of his ears most days. So, credit to him, because some of the stuff that he'll turn up to, like even when we were doing the pre-production to this new record, he'd turn up and he'd pull out a riff, and I'd just be like, dude. And when you think you've heard it all, he pulls out another bang, and I'm just like, oh my God, give someone else a chance, man.
And I guess just to bring things back to Bloodstock as well, like it feels like something that has tallied between Malevolence and Bloodstock is I remember going to Bloodstock for the first time, and like hands up, like this was like early, like about 2011, 12. Like I was quite intimidated by the prospect of going to Bloodstock because it's a heavier thing and not necessarily my taste, but like I look like a vegan hipster and I know what people think when they look at me. But well, like when it's now and we're in 2024, things like Architects headlining and your band have never played by the rules in terms of like wearing spikes and chains. Do you think that there's a lot to be said for, I don't want to say the normalization of heavy music because that makes it sound so pedestrian, but like there's less desperation to fit in and there's less need to wear a uniform these days. Do you think that that's the case when you look at Turnstile and Knock Loose and all a lot of the things, maybe not Sleep Token, but a lot of the things that have gone over the top in recent years have just involved people looking like people.
Yeah, I mean, like, we've always been a band that's kind of just worn whatever we want and done whatever we want. And I feel like, especially when the first time we played Bloodstock, we were like obviously conscious that it is a more of a metal festival. However, as soon as we walked out on the stage, it was clear the amount of love that was in the crowd for us, and it was just wiped all them worries away. And we're not trying to we weren't trying to change ourselves for that environment, but I never felt like I needed to. And yeah, I feel like over the last few years, Bloodstock have put on bands like Not Loose and Architects, and they're just, it's really nice to see that audience being so welcoming to everybody. And I feel like we are on a bit of an incline in the amount of people that will just be supportive no matter what. And that kind of judgmental era of gatekeeping metal and how it should look is hopefully a thing of the past. So, fingers crossed, it continues in the direction it's going. And I feel like, Bloodstock has always been very welcoming to us. Or they've always gone out of their way to support us. I don't know how many people know this actually, but I actually worked security on the main stage in like 2018, 2017, 20, I think. And this was like, 14-hour long days, stood in the sun and the rain and in the mud.
How
And
many people clocked that's Alex from Malevolence?
a couple, a couple.
Yeah, yeah.
It was, yeah, had a few people posting pictures of me on Twitter, which was a little bit awkward, like,
Yeah.
but like that community vibe that you get at Bloodstock extends to the staff. So you've got the people that are stood on the barrier all day. They'll stand and chat to you, and they'll get to know you, and you don't really get that at many other events that I've worked in the security profession. And it's just I think it's just like a sign of what Bloodstock stands for, and that inclusivity of no matter where you come from, you're welcome and you're gonna have a good weekend with us, regardless of how long you stood in a pit barrier or whether you're on the stage or whether you're in the crowd. Whatever you're doing, you're gonna have a good time. So
I feel your bands have created, not necessarily created, but encouraged that as well. Because it even feels like there was a time where it felt like music was competitive amongst bands, whereas now it feels way more communal in terms of like the bands have all got the other band's backs and like they set a good example on that front for community.
yeah, definitely. And we've been doing this like I think 13, 14 years now. So a lot of the bands who we've kind of grown up alongside with at some point or other, we've played a show with them, shared a stage with them, and I think naturally you just become friends. And it just so happens that we're good friends with a lot of bands who are now having their moment. Not Loose, a prime example. Them
Yeah.
absolutely killing it right now, and I'm so proud to like say, oh, I'm friends with those guys because they're setting levels and kicking down barriers that hopefully that makes it a lot easier for everyone else to reach those levels. Um, and yeah, it's just good to like support each other and like set an example, lead from the front.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
And like it feels like as well, there's like when you look at what your summer entails, right? Bloodstock, main stage, arenas with Death Punch in Europe, with Mastodon and Lamb of God out here. Like it feels like does it feel like momentum's on your side? Like I remember me and a lot of my mates being all over Reign of Suffering when it came out. From there to where we stand today, like it's a good ride, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like we're riding a wave right now, and I don't want it to ever end. So we're conscious of that, and that's why we're keeping on grinding. We still want to stay at the forefront of people's minds. That's why, like, we're excited for a lot of these big shows this summer. Um, but also, we had one of the busiest years we've ever had last year. So this year we're not doing quite as much, but we're staying working. We're never gonna disappear. We'll always be in the background, kind of. Whenever you don't see us on a stage, we're working hard on something. So, um, and I feel like it can be difficult as well, to keep that momentum, and because of the state of the world that we are now and how fast things turn over, you do kind of feel a bit of pressure to stay relevant, I guess. Um, but I kind of feel like now we're at a point where we've built such like a loyal, I hate the word fan base, but a loyal group of
Following,
supporters.
yeah.
Following, yeah, yeah, yeah. They'll ride with us, and they know the process. And we've also learned from our mistakes in the past of like leaving it 3 years between an album. I'm not trying to do that again anytime soon. But even then, when we were having the big gaps between the albums, it's not like we were just sat at home like reading the YouTube comments. We were like going out, playing shows, touring those records. So, and then writing for the next record. So I feel like you know it's not always about putting the records out. It's about like being, taking those records to as many places as you can, and bringing as many people as you can aboard your train as such. So, um, but I definitely feel like right now we're in one of the strongest positions, and I'm just so excited to put some new stuff out now, bro. Like we're at the end of the Malicious Intent cycle. This summer will be like the last time really that we play the malicious intent set list, I guess. Next time that we come round, the UK and Europe will have new material out, and so it's been an amazing run, and like that album has been such a pivotal moment for this band. So I'm excited to see now what the next one does.
Big time. And if there's less going on this year, it makes it all the more special that we'll see you at Bloodstock in August. Alex, cheers for your time, mate.
Thank you very much for having us, and we'll see you at Bloodstock.